So I grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's a smaller town, but had a really good, tight-knit medical community. I always knew I wanted to do something that had meaning, and so through different friends and family connections, I had opportunity to really shadow different physicians. And so there's actually a project, early on, whenever I was in grade school, where they wanted us to kind of explore a career path. And so I just decided to shadow one of my friends' parents. And ultimately, through that experience, I really saw what they did. It was a career where you interacted with people, you made a difference, you helped people. And it wasn't just kind of a 9-to-5 traditional mundane desk job. And so I played sports growing up in Hattiesburg, played baseball, football, basketball, you name it. I was a pretty active guy. Kind of the prototypical story, had a lot of injuries growing up. And so through that experience, I was exposed to the medical community, especially orthopedics, through those different injuries. And so developed a lot of really strong mentors in the field of orthopedics. They're always around. They're always at our games, always interacting with us in the training room. And I felt that was a very, honestly, it was an incredible position. It was something you could really interact with athletes. From my background, I was passionate about sports. Is really my identity at that time. And so over time, as I developed these injuries and sports kind of came to an end for me, that was a way that for me, I could give back to that community and really kind of stay engaged and be a participant in their story and their successes. Well, I kind of touched on this a little bit in the previous question, but orthopedics in general, had a really good experience with mentors that I grew up with in Hattiesburg. Again, my identity was sports. I really, that's all I knew. Those were my goals moving forward. I always wanted to play at the next level. And, through my injuries, I had a lot of interactions with the orthopedic surgeons, especially within the sports world. And so, I learned that it's not just an injury physically, but it takes a mental toll as well. And so just really engaging with those different physicians in the orthopedic world and the sports world really kind of taught me a lot about what my goals were, about myself and where I wanted to go moving forward. And so sports comes to an end for most people. Mine generally it came to an end a little bit sooner than I expected. And so to be able to give back in that same capacity as they gave to me really inspired me to move forward with orthopedics and sports medicine specifically. That's a tough one. I'm a baseball guy at heart. I kind of lean towards upper extremities. So anywhere from, obviously shoulder instability cases, rotator cuffs, UCLs, and throwing athletes. I do like ACLs and knee procedures as well. But I think that if I had to kind of narrow it down, it'd be more so upper extremity type cases. This is a little bit, I guess, less traditional in the sports world. I had a really good trauma experience at Tulane in New Orleans. And so really had a lot of complex ballistic trauma and high energy trauma. And so for me, just kind of the mindset of putting together the 3D puzzle, upper extremity trauma is a little bit more complex, or can be, depending on what you're looking at. But, I really had a great experience with my trauma staff in New Orleans, and, anywhere from shoulder, proximal humerus fractures to distal humerus fractures. I think that just the complexity of those cases, the challenge of being able to put the 3D puzzle back together is really enjoyable. I think it's all patient-centered and goal-oriented. I think it's really important to get to know your patient, get to know your athlete, and figure out, okay, what are our goals moving forward? And with that being said, is communication. And so my approach is really understanding, what the person wants to get back to, what their time frame looks like. Let's be realistic in some instances, because a lot of people, they may not be, very medically literate and understand kind of what a realistic time frame is. And everybody in the sports field, at least, what I was drawn to is everybody wants to get back to what they want to do. And so being able to decide, okay, what is the best move forward to accomplish your goals? And so I think it's really patient-centered, goal-focused, and based in communication. Communication is key. Within the sports world, you're dealing with a bunch of different levels of providers. You're dealing with athletic trainers, you're dealing with coaches, you're dealing with ancillary staff. So I think that really, to kind of piggyback off of what I was talking about before, you have to find out what the goals are. Goals are for the team, the patient, and really communicate that effectively. And so I think that Elite does a fantastic job with that. Empower, that we're partnered with. I think that we have a really integrated practice with physical therapists, and with that being said, that takes us directly into the sports world. So Elite has a unique position where Elite really understands the communication that's necessary to accomplish those goals and get the patient where they want to go. So we have a 6-month-old daughter. So she, in addition to my wife, definitely keep me busy outside of work. What keeps me motivated? I think that in general, I'm somebody who strives to be better every day. I strive for excellence, and so the goal of what can I do differently tomorrow that will set me apart from who I was the day before. And so really striving for excellence and trying to be better each day. Oh, so I mean, I think it kind of depends on the mood. For me, anything that's like upbeat, something that kind of keeps the vibes good in the OR. I mean, I'll listen to anything from, hip hop, rap, country, rock. I mean, so I think that I'm not a guy who has one specific favorite genre. I think it all kind of depends on the mood for me. There are a lot of great spots in Nashville, and obviously Nashville's changed so much over the last few years. My wife, she went to Belmont, and we dated in Nashville, and so we were always going to the next spot. She was always trying to wine and dine me to convince me to come back to Nashville. But ultimately, I mean, there are great spots here, but to me, it's all about who you're with. To me, it's the company you keep and just being able to have conversation. And I haven't developed a favorite spot yet, but I'm more so a people person, and so any spot's great as long as you have the right people with you. I think architectural engineering. I really enjoy planning, design, the building aspect, and creating something. I've always been kind of an engineering mindset and really enjoy putting things together and building things. But I think architectural engineering kind of is a great way to combine the artistic side of things with kind of the engineering side of it. Good question. Driven, passionate, and analytical. I'm very thankful to be here. My wife and I have talked about coming back to Nashville for so many years, and just to have the opportunity to join the Elite family, the Elite team, it's really just what I want to communicate. I'm super excited to get started here and work with everybody, and just so appreciative for everybody that has helped me along the way, and look forward to working with everybody. And if I haven't met you yet, hopefully I get to meet you soon. Meeting 3. Move by. Sweet tea. 12 officer. Farmers market. That's tough. Bridgestone. Country classics. I suck at karaoke, but karaoke is definitely more fun. I'm always down for a hike. Titans. Fireworks.